Why are all the talented upcoming producers, songwriters, and artists, even executives, talking about the Billboard 500 Club?
The Billboard 500 Club is just what I needed. As a graduate of Berklee College of Music, for the last 3 years, I've learned more and grown more as a musician and a producer and an artist in 3 months than I had in the last 3 years.
Getting feedback from the people in the industry. So they're saying, here's why I wouldn't pick this song for the radio. Here's why I wouldn't pick this song for a movie or a TV show placement. So you can hear what you need to do to get better.
It's helped me focus and change my mindset of what it is to be an artist.
The Billboard 500 Club is amazing, and it's been, for me, a total game changer. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle and some of the pieces they've been lost, and then someone comes along and gives you the jigsaw pieces. Slot it in, you see the big picture, and you can run with it then.
If any of you can take any sort of course that he offers, I would do it in a heartbeat. It will be some of the best invested money.
Just 9 months after joining the club, I got my first contracts with a sync licensing company in Los Angeles, and that company is now pitching my songs for TV and film.
All right, so I'll just hop right into it. Welcome everyone to another Monday Motivation. Today's gonna be really cool because we've been starting to do these more insightful breakdowns of things for music career, your actual music business, your life, and then we're breaking into these breakout rooms, which have been really cool to kind of mingle and connect with more people in the group. So these Monday Motivations have become something I truly look forward to, because I feel that the more people who come to them, the more awareness we have in the group, but also the more level of musicianship is growing. And I get to hear it. And I always tell everyone, it's like, you could be somewhere in the world and you're working on your own music and you're thinking, oh, I feel like I'm getting better. And then you're seeing your songs going, oh, I'm getting better. But I hear everyone's material. That's a different impact it has on me. Like, I get to hear all the songs in the songwriting contest. I get to hear all the artists who are working with us at Kimura. A lot of you remember I'd started a Kimura project during the quarantine. Right when the quarantine hit, our company was the first to do anything of the sort of a quarantine project. And what was really interesting is I got a chance to listen to the sampler that the company went with, meaning the company created a sampler to start sending out to all the music supervisors, the sync agents. And so it was really cool is I got a chance to listen to it yesterday. And 70% of the artists that are on that sampler are from our group. And to see that and go, all right, this thing's working. It's working. You know, the supervisors are excited. The people pitching it are standing behind it. And all the names of the other business partners at Kimura are all some of the top names in the sync and TV and film world, in music industry, you know? So to see them reacting so positively towards our group shows that the process of learning this information from a very high level, executing it, being honest about the filtration system, not just sugarcoating and making everyone sound good and patting you on the back and burping you, like that stuff out the door. We're trying to become the best that we possibly can as human beings and as creatives. And then putting you side by side with the executives, but more importantly, understanding what they have to go through in order to make an endeavor be profitable and to be with the least amount of like negative back and forth. And I'm talking about from not clearing samples to not having split sheets signed to not knowing how to hit a brief. All of those things we're teaching you how to figure out. So that little, and it sounds so weird, but you got to remember, if you're getting pitched 100 songs a week, that sounds like a little thing, but that's a massive thing in a company's time. Do you realize, like, see when I say exponentially, how you're like, oh, wow, yeah, you're right. If there's 100 demos sent in a week to a company, that's 400 songs a year, 400 songs a month. Multiply it by 12. That's what, 4,800 songs a year. And if during those songs, a majority of them, and I'm talking about a majority of them, are not mixed the highest quality, don't hit the brief, don't have samples cleared, don't have all their registrations, don't have all their split sheets, don't even know what a PRO is, that's a headache for a company. And when I spell it out like that, it all makes sense, right? Okay. So when you become the go-to group like you are, that supervisors, which I told everyone, anyone who's a level 3, we have an award-winning music supervisor coming in, I think tomorrow, to pitch directly to you, which is the first time in our group that that's happened, but it's going to be the start of many others. Because once this works, it's just going to keep on happening, because we're making their jobs easier and they're making our jobs easier. So it fits. And that's when there's good business, when there's win-wins. So I'm really excited for this, because this is literally what I've been saying would happen as soon as everyone got to that undeniable spot of their music. Everything else starts to kind of fall into line. So yeah, I think at some point I will post the Kimura sampler just so you all can hear it, and you can hear some of your friends and some of the songs they've been doing, and you'll see the game has been up-leveled. And it's really cool to listen to. Same thing with songwriting contests. I told everyone I listened through them. Extremely hard to pick. I had nothing to do with the judging so far. So all I did was send out to a bunch of executives and friends, and they are narrowing down their top 8. I'm going to take the top 8, post it in our group. Our group will just pick whoever they think is the best. From that, we'll have our top 5. And then the top 5 get submitted to, like the heads of A&R at record labels. And they will pick then the top 1, 2, and 3. So that's the process for everyone to know. I have nothing to do with the judging, but I was really proud to hear all the songs, because you hear literally someone from last year who had some good ideas is now delivering full high quality songs, and they're competitive with what's on the radio. I don't know anywhere else where that happens in a year point in time. It definitely doesn't happen at colleges. So I don't know where that happens. And I think our group is the trendsetter now of people who can completely shift not only their mindset, but their careers, and then the circles of people around them. It's like a full embodiment of, I think, that where you all desire to be. And I feel it's really cool to see it in real time in my eyes. So anyway, let's hop into Monday Motivation. Here's some things that I wrote down that have been coming to me that I just want to bring to the group. And one of them I posted on a Facebook post, I think it was 2 days ago, but it was, in order to get the things that you want in this life, you have to think high enough, hard enough. So I'm going to open this up to discussion in here. It's very important. Think high enough, hard enough. Think high enough, hard enough. And the reason why I brought that up is because sometimes a person's ego will stop them from truly hearing the words they need to hear. It almost acts like a tennis racket. You like give them advice and they're like, I don't like that advice. And you're like, but that was the advice that you needed to hear. And the ego is just like, no. And I've seen this so much. And it's the reason why I like to bring it up, because I've met so many artists who are crazy talented. I mean, on The Voice, on American Idol, had a record deal, had a publishing deal, all these things. And then you'll give them sound advice. Like, hey, your music's good, but that mix needs a lot of work. So either you're going to hire a good mixer or you got to learn how to mix. And they're just like, pew, pew. Or like, the hook is good, but it could be better. It could be better. And they're like, what do you mean it could be better? Well, right now you don't have a melodic structure. So it's hard for me to follow along with what you're saying, because you're not using words that I would even say in a conversation. If I wouldn't say it, I wouldn't sing it. And they're like, well, that's how I look at the world. And you're like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But you have to understand that part of the beauty in music is knowing how to connect with people. And if you can't let people help you, you're always going to be your own worst enemy and not even know it, which is the scary part. It's like you're living with your enemy, but you think it's your best friend because it empowers you. And I see a lot of people falling for this empowerment thought. But if you logically ask them questions, their whole entire Jenga thing falls down because they can't logically answer. If anything, they emotionally answer. And that's different. The difference between responding with logic and responding with emotion. If you respond with emotion, you tend to do it based out of fear. So the interesting thing is, like, what would you be fearful of? If someone's giving you really sound information, like, here can make this better, or, you know, have you tried studying this, or whatever, what would be fearful about becoming a better version of yourself? Unless you're sleeping with the enemy, and the enemy doesn't want you to become better. The enemy likes you comforting them right there. You know, it's the whole thing, like misery loves company. You might be creating the company. It's like a shadow version of yourself to keep you safe. And then it's just holding you. And other people are trying to pull you out of bed to get you to where you can go. But that thing's like, no, stay right here. Does that make sense? Everyone? Okay. So I think it's imperative that we bring this stuff up, you know, think high enough, hard enough. What happens with anything is once you start to become more detailed by thinking about it more, it starts to create a more accurate filtration system. Let me give you a perfect example. If I was playing basketball, let's say, and I was watching the game, and I didn't really love basketball. Let's say I was just watching it with some friends. I'm just going to kind of watch it and nod along. And then, you know, everyone gets excited when there's a big shot, and I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, great. But I don't really love basketball, so I'm not really understanding all the movements. I don't know the plays. I don't know their little hand gestures. I don't know what the moves are called. I don't even know where the points are. I just know that's a dunk and that's a far shot, but I don't know that's a 3-point line. That's the foul line. That's worth 2 points. That's when you get fouled, +1 is like, as you start to understand more of the thing, the endeavor, the craft, you start to become more micro nuanced by the rule set that will help you to understand it. Does that make sense? Okay. So when people say they love something, I know we went over love before in our group, but I want to mention this. The part of love that is the action is when you try to find out exactly how it works at the core. That's when you really love something. Like, you can't be with someone that you want to marry unless you really want to know that person at the core. Otherwise, you don't really love them. You can't be involved in a sport and say, I love this thing, unless you want to know all the moves, all the timing, all the verbiage, all the plays, all the things that make you the best. You don't really love that sport. If you say you love music, but you don't go in all the way to learn it, you don't really love it. You just like it a lot. Realize there is a major difference. There's a major difference how people are going to treat you. There's a major difference on how fans will connect with you. There's a major difference on who's going to invest their time, their energy, and their money on you. All of these things are associated with the act of love. So a really good thing to do is say, do I really love this music thing? Because those detailed things like songwriting and understanding, are you creating contrast and emotional visuals? And are you taking the listener through a story? Are you bringing something new of value to the listener? Are you bringing something new and valuable to yourself that makes you feel emotional? Not just because you sang a song. Is it a song worth singing? And are you saying it is only because you sang it? Because that's ego. No other business in the world works like that. None. No other real business in the world is like, we're putting this out because we like it. No, they make something that they feel is valuable for people. They ask people, do you feel it's valuable for you? People say yes. And when they get a majority of people saying yes, they then market it, brand it, put money behind it. That's how all businesses work. But people who are creatives like to go about 30% and then expect other people to put them on a pedestal, which makes zero sense. There's no business that acts like that in the world. Give you something at 30%, but then you want to be put on a pedestal. The only thing that can do that is ego. So I always want to check that ego thing, because that ego thing that's sleeping right next to you could be holding you back, or sometimes making you think you're hotter than you are, because it's being told to. It's being told in a society, you're a queen, you're a king. No, you're not. You have done nothing to deserve that title. You're a boss. No, you're not. You have 0 employees. There's all this thing that people love to push, and that ego starts to grow. And then when you're in a situation to actually start to get the things you want, you have that path that's right there, that ego starts to creep in and tell you you're not good enough. Like, think about it. If you really look at this thing is a toxic relationship. It tells you you're not good enough when it feels like you're growing to become bigger than it, right? Or it tells you you're so hot to make you stay when you have room to grow. That thing is a toxic relationship. If that was a human being, you'd be like, that's a toxic person. So I just want to kind of voice this. Think high enough, hard enough, okay? Because it will always end up, you will learn more in anything. Like tomorrow, if someone said, you know, Adam, I really want to become a marine biologist. You think I would tell you couldn't do it? I'd be like, cool, study it. And then I guarantee year 1, you'll be understanding stuff. Year 2, you'll know more. By year 5, people are going to respect you because you'll know a lot of information that the average person won't. Then you'll be circled around other marine biologists and you'll learn more from them, right? You could just imagine that. But if we put it into musician world, it's like almost if people just think they're going to land in this oasis, this heaven, this moment on top of the mountain. And that is all movies. It's all movies. It's not how the world works. I'm letting you know, after I've won awards, it's not like I did something crazy. I didn't even tell my mom. It was like, cool. Wait, hold on a second. We got a technical difficulty. All right, let's see if it comes back on. There we go. After some major things happen in my career, you assume that you're going to have this moment of like, you made it. And the reality is, no, all that's happening is that the manifestation of the things that you already implanted in your mind and have been setting forth are now just happening in real time for other people to view and for yourself to find more confidence in what you have been saying, but nothing changes. You don't walk differently the next day. It's not like there's a dance that we all do. It's like, look, I've been saying that was going to happen. So it's very important to note this. You have to believe it. So that way you're going to say, yeah, I've been saying that's going to happen. If you don't think it's going to happen, it's not. Because your energy is going to create the ripples of what you will call your life or your destiny. That is your energy. My energy can only help to influence you, but your energy is going to create the doorway or the path that you walk through. So if I give you my energy, you ingest it. If it makes sense, use that as momentum to create your ripples. But if you get my energy, you're sleeping next to big ego person, which is going to give you all this other self-doubt and then overconfidence. And it starts to take what I say and then go, yeah, but I'm letting you know, I've seen a lot of talented people over the years now. And it's one of those things because when I first started, I just happened to date someone who had, still to this day, the best female voice that I've ever worked with. She was just happened to be my girlfriend when we were in college. That's a random thing. I've never met another vocalist, female vocalist, that can touch her in a studio. I just haven't met it. That's 18 years ago. But is she successful now in the music industry? No. Why? Because of her ego. I've seen this thing. So once again, think high enough, hard enough. And I say that because, for instance, if you go, well, I'm not that good at production yet, so I'm not going to take a production course. That's not thinking high enough, hard enough. It's, I'm not good at it, so I'm going to take the production course. So that way I get more micro nuanced on my abilities. So therefore I'm worth more value today than I was yesterday. So by the end of 3 months, I now am really valuable and I can charge people for that time and energy that I've now created. Does that make sense? Okay. Because I notice a lot of people that I talk to, if I ask them, like, why do you, and which we're going to go to get in our breakout rooms, but I'll say, why do you feel like you're not where you need to be? And they all say money. And I'm like, money? Okay, send me your songs. I listen to the song and I'm like, oh, it's not money that's holding you back. It's that you don't have enough songs yet. And your songs right now are not the highest quality, but it's not money that's holding you back. That's an internal thing. That's not external. There's a lot of people that I notice are using external reasoning for internal problems. It's imperative to note this. You are an adult. At this point in life, you have to stop blaming external things. It's only going to hold you back because a lot of people love to use those stories, and it's beautiful to use social media to connect on that nonsense. It's a great way to connect with other people because everyone gets to blame something. That's easy. Like, they don't allow me to do this because I'm this color. They don't allow me to do this because I'm this gender. They don't allow me to do it. They. I'm like, listen, if you look around at the planet we are in right now, we have more opportunities right now than ever before in history, period. Are you going to take advantage of them or not? That's the only thing I'm looking at. I don't see the same thing people see because I'm like, wait, but do you realize 10 years ago it was worse? Do you realize 1,000 years ago it was worse? Do you not realize that we never had this? We couldn't send a message around the world before. You had to send it through someone who would go on a boat. Like, are you forgetting? Do you know musicians like Ray Charles like couldn't see and were playing music every single day? And then there's someone else who has like the internet, they got a house, they got an apartment at $1,500 a month, all this stuff. And I'm looking at them like, are you not seeing what's going on here? You had to used to sign to a record label. You had to. There was no way you're getting your music out unless you were on a record label. Anyone can do it now. So I feel like the best way to make a great future is to study the past. And if you almost act like the past didn't exist before you came along, you're never going to truly grab the opportunities that are in front of you. You're not going to see them with the same light and aura and halo that they have. You're always going to see them like the glass is half full. But if you look at the glass differently and go, yeah, this has never been around. That's how you take it and run with it, because then you can be the change that it becomes. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So I want to start with that. Think high enough, hard enough. And we're going to go through that today when we go in our breakout rooms. We're going to find things that we want to accomplish. And we're going to talk about those with each other and see if there's one of others can help. Any ideas, anything that they've read, any links, anything that we can kind of go through, we'll talk about today. But I think it's imperative that you all have that thing that you're thinking about, and you're not letting the outside world, who is mostly programmed to believe they have to be slaves. Let me be very clear. You can't listen to them, like, at all. I mean, I have okay, a perfect story I can tell you. My uncle is a very successful man, and when I was younger, I used to love going to his house because he had a upright piano in his basement, and his basement was furnished. And it was cool because I got to, my mom and the family would be upstairs talking, and I got to go on the piano and just like bang on it. I had no clue what I was doing. And it turns out, as I got older, he told me that he used to own a guitar store in New York, and he used to sell guitars to like Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and he had all these like really great stories. And I didn't know any of this stuff. And I was like, wow, so my love for music has been my family. Flip side is my other aunt and uncle used to work at RCA Records, and that's where they met. Didn't know this either. They used to stamp the albums. They were in the stamping room of the albums. When the vinyl would come out, they would stamp it, and that's how they met. Didn't know this. So I started finding out people in my family, did music. And when I first said I wanted to become a musician, everyone pretty much said the same thing. It was, well, don't you want to go to college, or don't you want to go back to college? Or, well, what would happen if that doesn't work out? Or, well, what are you going to do when you get older? They would ask me all these questions, and I would look at them, and my answers were all the same. I was like, well, I plan on, making success as a musician, and then I will have a catalog that will be worth income and royalties, and my master's, like, because I studied the business. So I was like, I'm going to do these things. And they were so accustomed to working or being part of that thing of like, no, you go to a job, and especially the ones who family members who worked for other people, it was, but what are you going to do when you get older? What are you going to do about benefits? And I'm like, benefits? What, I can't buy health insurance? Like, what? I'm confused on what you think I can't do with money that I will earn. So the best thing I can say to everyone is it's impossible to talk to someone who has no clue what you're talking about if that person is so programmed that their mind does not open. It is impossible. Don't listen to them, which is hard because there's, 98% of people in the world work a 9 to 5 for someone else. So that's hard. It's literally saying the majority of people you'll be talking to will be giving you wrong information. How do you discern the correct information? That's tough. I get it. That's why so many musicians start a career then drop out. It's because there's more people pulling them back to be part of the slave world. And when I say slave, I'm talking about modern slavery, which is more mental than is physical. I truly believe that the biggest war actually happening is the war on consciousness, because that's the final frontier. Like, once you move away from enslaving someone's body, when you can enslave their mind, that's the final frontier. That's the last piece that makes someone unique, is how they think, how they view things, and more importantly, what they follow, what they stand up for, what they create. That's consciousness. Are they being conscious of their decisions? Are they being conscious of the people they surround themselves with? Are they being conscious of the words they use? Are they being conscious of how they invest or spend their time and money? If you're not conscious of these things, someone else is conscious that they're taking it from you. I guarantee you that. Someone else has planned to take it from you. Does that make sense? Okay. So I believe the last frontier is consciousness. And because, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who do it in a very, I guess, would you say, spiritual way, that they remove the fact of just a simple logic behind it, that some people get lost. It's like consciousness, and there's someone with crystals on their YouTube, and you're like, come on. Or like, I talk to fairies and all this, and you're like, come on. It's I saw ET last night, and they're like, prove it. I'm not saying that these things aren't real, but there's some people who just get attention from this stuff, and they form circles around it. And then a lot of people who are just, looking for answers in the world follow it. And the person usually just talks around in circles and usually repeats what they heard other people say. What I'm talking about is your true north. Are you listening to it? Are you listening to the compass inside you? It's something to think about. Is someone else taking your time, or are you in control of it? Because time is the only thing you actually have on this planet. That's the only thing you actually can control, is your time. You can't control what someone else does to you. You can't control if your boyfriend or girlfriend cheats on you. You can't control if your job wants to give you a raise or not. You can't control if it's sunny out or rainy. You can't control any of that. But you can control your time. You can control your mind. You can control what you do with your time and what your mind does in that time. Does that make sense? Okay. So, like I said, I just want everyone to think high enough, hard enough, because you will see those things that you once thought were hard over time get easier in everything. So if you're not thinking high and you're almost expecting an instant result because you're not thinking hard enough about it and just realizing it's part of a process and everyone's got to go through it, you're going to be way too emotional about it because your emotions are driving the car, not logic. When your emotions are driving your car, it's going to run you off the road every single time because your emotions don't have steady hands. All right. Your emotions are going to turn in the middle. Your emotions are going to talk to people. Your emotions are going to look down at a text. Your emotions are going to be reactive because that's what they are. They're reactive. You need to be conscious of your brain, of your mind, of your time. You need to disconnect from things that take it away from it because you don't have control of it if it's being taken in 10 different places. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've had several people ask me questions, and they're usually really emotional. And then after they think about the answer I give them, they calm down. They feel more at peace. They feel more in control. And all I'm doing is I'm resetting their mind. So that way their emotions can't drive them off the road. But that shows me in that moment that they're not surrounding themselves with other people who are in control of their mind. And it shows me they're not surrounding themselves with structure to their mind. It shows me that something else has grabbed their consciousness a bit and is pointing it in directions that it wants it to go in. But their true north, they haven't gotten to yet because they're looking for something that's instant. There is nothing of greatness that's instant. So get that thought out of your minds if you even had it. It's just not worth even thinking about. Like if you talk to anyone who's successful and like in anything and said like, look at Gary Vee, he'll tell you, he's like, I didn't go out throughout my whole 20s. I didn't go out in my even early 30s. He's like, I didn't go anywhere. I worked. And everyone's like, Gary Vee. Yeah, but listen to him talk about his whole entire struggle. He had to work to figure out to where he's going to be. If you look at any major producer, they're going to be like, oh, I was just, trying beats out and I was working in my home and I had to sell this to get that. That's 99% of people's stories. You're going to hear the same exact story, just told from a different perspective. But then if you've been doing something for 2 years and you want some kind of result, that's your ego driving you off the road. You mean you're not competing in the Olympics yet? No. You mean you're not even one of the best? No. Then why are you upset right now? You still have work to do. Well, shouldn't I get a fan base? For what? Why should someone be your fan right now? Are you so good that you deserve fans? Remember what fans were? It's because someone was so good that others looked up to them. Now people want to get on like varsity high school and they want fans. And you're like, what? Where did this level of fan just drop to where they should just accept anything that's kind of 70% level? So here's the best way of doing it. Ask yourself this one simple question. If you didn't know you, would you be your own fan? Real talk. If you just happened to be scrolling on the internet and you found you, would you be like, subscribed right now? Right now. I gotta see whatever this person's doing. Oh, this song right here. If you go, huh, I don't know, then the answer is no. You would not. If you said, I don't know, the answer is no. I guarantee if Adele scrolled past Adele, Adele would think Adele is dope. I guarantee if John Mayer scrolled past John Mayer playing guitar, he would think John Mayer is dope. Does that make sense? I guarantee if Timbaland was scrolling past the internet and found Timbaland making a beat, he'd be like, that kid's dope. So I think the easiest way to do it, once again, is to cut through the ego and ask a very fair question. If you didn't know you, would you buy a ticket tomorrow to your show? If the answer is no, slow up. Become undeniable first. Become to where you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm putting on a show. Yeah, I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a producer. Like, I do this thing. And if I met me, I would hire me. If you don't feel like that yet, it's okay. No stress, no ego, but you got to keep thinking high enough, hard enough, which means you got to invest your time and your money on the things that will make you undeniable. So when you do see yourself in the mirror in a year from now, you say to the answer that is a yes. If you don't invest your time and energy and money, what you're going to do is going to keep prolonging that thing that could happen a year to being 10 years, and you're going to call that a journey. You're going to call that a path, because it goes into the narrative of everyone on social media who's going to tell you a story that the world's meant for you, and everything else in between is you figuring out these things and have to go through hard parts just to learn them. That is bullshit. Okay. I want you all to know it. It's bullshit. You can learn those things in a year. You can learn those things in 2 years. You're choosing not to because of the nonsense. And I also want to say this. If you use money as a reason, you can get credit cards, you can get loans, you can cut back on things. Trust me, whenever money is a reason of things, I'm like, there's so many free things on YouTube. It's crazy. It's not money. It's the way you think about the world. That's it. Like, I'm just saying this because I remember when there was a point, I sold my guitars, I sold pianos, I sold old clothes, I sold a car, I sold whatever I had to do because money is just a use of energy. But when someone starts to connect to their things as if they're part of them, oh, they gotcha. To me, everything is just energy. Oh, how much does that cost? I need that. I don't need that. Take this, sell that. Now I have this. If I do that, I'm worth more value, so I can charge more for other people who want this from me. That's how it works. But when someone's like, oh, I can't sell those shoes. Why? Oh, those are like $300 shoes. Okay, but do you wear them all the time? Well, no, but I can't sell them. Okay. What about that TV? Oh, I watch TV at least a few times a week. But can't you get a smaller TV? Yeah, but I mean, what happens when people come over? Do you have a lot of people over? No, but what happens when they do? Wait, what? So when people come over, you can't just watch something on a smaller TV? No. Okay. Why do you live in this apartment that's $1,200 a month when you can't afford it? Well, because it's in the center of town. Okay. Tell me why that matters. Well, because, if I need to go do things, what things do you do? I like go to the store, go to the gym. Are those things not anywhere else? Well, like literally every time someone tells me a reason, the reason is based in the fact that they've been programmed to become a consumer, not an investor of energy, not even understanding that they're holding themselves back. And that ego that holds on to them makes them feel real good about it. Does this all make sense? Yeah? Okay. And the reason why we're talking about this is because you're going to be the leaders of your teams. Like, that's just real talk. Like, in 5 years from now, some of you are going to have record deals. Some of you are going to have publishing deals. Some of you are going to have admin deals. Some of you will be building your own companies. This will happen. I guarantee. And I think you all know it. You've seen people in our group get more talented, more talented, more talented. Y'all are going to be the next wave of musicians. Like, check this out. The reason why NSYNC and Britney and what's the other kid's name? Ryan Gosling, Alanis Morissette, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande. The reason why there's all these kids who came out of these TV shows is because they were mentored how to be excellent at being in entertainment. That's it. They were mentored by vocal coaches on a daily basis, choreographers on a daily basis. They had directors teaching them. So what happened was, while Miley Cyrus is in that group too, as they started to get older and they went on their solo careers, they knew what to do at a professional level. But they started really young. So yeah, they started when they were 12. So by the time they were 20, they were already in the mix. They're ready to go for that key demographic, right? All of y'all are getting more actual information because you're getting it from all different perspectives, from executives, from platinum artists, platinum producers, platinum mixers. You're getting them from all different angles. So in 5 years' time, the same way that happened, we're becoming the new Motown. We're becoming the new club of that sort. So when you all reach your undeniable points, which some of you are, I mean, for example, is like someone like Psy. Like Psy's like an undeniable writer, producer, artist in the group. He's undeniably great at everything he touches. When everyone has that same thing, and you look around at all your friends, that's kind of like a crazy amount of talent that's happening there. So it's imperative to kind of voice this so that way you realize where you're going to be, so you can keep thinking high enough, hard enough, so you become the version of you that's needed for you to live the life that you want. Because if you don't become that version, you're always going to be in disconnect, wanting something, but never receiving it, because you are not the reflection of it. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, so here's what we'll do today. Let's get in some breakout rooms. So let's do it like this. All right, so I'm just gonna put people in rooms by random. When you're in there, we'll have about 15 minutes. And I want you to just voice what you think is holding you back from becoming undeniable. Like the undeniable version of you, meaning you walk into an executive's room, you play a song, and they go, now that is fucking amazing. What do you feel is holding you back from you looking at you and going, I would buy a ticket to your show tomorrow? Whatever that thing is that you feel is holding you back, we'll go around and we'll discuss it one by one. And then add some help. Maybe someone goes, my mixes. And someone in the group might say, I just watched some great videos on mixing. I'll send them your way. Or maybe Adam has some advice on this thing. We'll bring it back up when we come together. But try to voice it. And if anyone has any advice, we can start to talk about it openly here. Cool? All right. So let me put together these groups real quick.
Why are all the talented upcoming producers, songwriters, and artists, even executives, talking about the Billboard 500 Club?
The Billboard 500 Club is just what I needed. As a graduate of Berklee College of Music, for the last 3 years, I've learned more and grown more as a musician and a producer and an artist in 3 months than I had in the last 3 years.
Getting feedback from the people in the industry. So they're saying, here's why I wouldn't pick this song for the radio. Here's why I wouldn't pick this song for a movie or a TV show placement. So you can hear what you need to do to get better.
It's helped me focus and change my mindset of what it is to be an artist.
The Billboard 500 Club is amazing, and it's been, for me, a total game changer. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle and some of the pieces they've been lost, and then someone comes along and gives you the jigsaw pieces. Slot it in, you see the big picture, and you can run with it then.
If If any of you can take any sort of course that he offers, I would do it in a heartbeat. It will be some of the best invested money.
Just 9 months after joining the club, I got my first contracts with a sync licensing company in Los Angeles, and that company is now pitching my songs for TV income.
Since Adam's not back yet, let's just start going over what you guys shared as your experience in your breakout groups. So the question again was, what's holding you back? And if you would like to go first, just like click the little reaction button and like raise your hand.
So I jumped in a little later, but they caught me up. So what I got out of it, it was really great help. John and everybody actually in our little group helped, but helping me realize that I have too many split focuses. Like I thought that every different area of music needed to be completely separate. And John Mark and Andre and Alice are bringing up that it's easier if it's all just necessarily in one place, because then people don't have to follow like 4 different things. And I, in my head, thought that I needed to have everything completely separate. And so I was kind of just, until I could get everything separate and completely branded and marketed the way I wanted it to look, I wasn't putting really anything out. I just had like my regular Instagram, and, you know, if there was a concert or something I did and there was a neat clip, I would throw it up there just along with what I was doing in life. But nothing specifically branded only for music, because I was like, it has to be perfect and it has to be perfect for all these different areas. And so it was helpful to get the input of like, no, just put it in one place. And then if there's something that specific comes out catalog wise, where you're doing, you know, more songs in a catalog with somebody specific, then kind of look to maybe sectioning that off. So that was helpful.
Cool. Allison, how about you share next?
I guess for the group, it boiled down to time management and being consistent and disciplined with that. Right now, currently, mine is chronic pain. I have 2 vertebrae that sit on a nerve. So it's like I have so many steps walking wise a day, and I don't know when that ending's going to happen, and then it's not fun. But I have found when I'm working on the music, the pain pretty much goes away because I'm so focused on it. So it's like, okay, when I hurt, go sit down and do music, I think. So, but I think time management, if you ask Yolanda or Alicia, so they probably have things to add as well. So I'm good.
Yeah, I would just, in terms of overcoming that, I was saying that I just need to establish more boundaries, in the sense that, so I work, I've got a regular job Monday to Friday. So if I find that that's sort of creeping into my evening, I need to get to a point where I say, no, there's no point doing anything now, it's late, move on and work on music or whatever else it might be. That was the example I gave, and Brian talked about not coming up with music beds but not necessarily finishing them. And then when he said that, I thought, I'm a bit like that too. I get to a point where I just get stuck with it and then I move on to something else. So I've tried to discipline myself now to work on one song, which I've been working with Yolanda. So I've got all the stems, everything I need. So I just need to work on the production of that and working towards my first final package, if you like. So yeah.
And Adam is back. Can you hear us, Adam?
Yeah, I'm back.
Awesome.
It was interesting because I got a chance to listen to a few of you speaking on time management, which seems to be something that is a connecting point for everyone. So what I was saying actually right before it cut off is connected to that. So the question was this: if you were a bodybuilder, going to the gym would be the prerequisite to keep your body in shape. But in order to be a bodybuilder, you have to think of more things than that. It's how to push the muscles to grow. You probably have a nutritional schedule that's pretty intense. You can't eat pizza like everybody else. It's something different. You usually have a goal or a time limit that you're trying to get to this physique by so you can compete against everyone else. You probably are working out with other bodybuilders, meaning no one, if you're lifting 500 pounds and someone's lifting 20 pounds, you're probably not working out with a 20-pound person because they're not going to push you. And you most likely have a personal trainer. Does that all make sense? Okay. Are you doing that for your career? That's the question you need to answer. Are you thinking of it like a bodybuilder? Because bodybuilders don't have the ability to, like, most of them have other jobs at first. They're not just like, I'm a bodybuilder tomorrow. It's like you have a job, maybe they're a personal trainer, maybe they do it on their off hours, but the level of commitment is intense for anyone to get to that size of body. It's like, listen, if you see a bodybuilder like 3 times the size of human beings, that commitment is it's like they'll say it took me 5 years to get this body. But with musicians, I tend to hear other reasons, and a lot of it's just, first of all, they're going to the gym sometimes. They don't work every day with a personal trainer. They don't surround themselves with other people lifting 500 pounds. They aren't strict on their diet or their time of where they're ingesting information. So musicians make way more money than bodybuilders, have way more influence. But still, for whatever reason, musicians don't always use the same mindset as the bodybuilder. And I think the reason is because the bodybuilder can't be creative. The bodybuilder knows, in order for me to get there, I have to do X, Y, and Z. There's no room for my ego to lie to me about what I look like in the mirror. But musicians have room to say, well, so-and-so made it that way, and so-and-so made it that way, and they liked my song, but they didn't. Like, there's too much of that wiggle room, which gives artists the ability to almost lie to themselves a lot. So I think a real good thing is, like, are you looking at your career like a bodybuilder, just mentally? And if you're like, I'm not going to the gym every day, well, then you're probably not going to be a competitive bodybuilder. I'm not working with a personal trainer, then you're probably not going to be a competitive bodybuilder. I'm not making sure that what I'm ingesting is the best for me at all times. Well, you're probably not going to be a good bodybuilder. I'm not working out with other people on a regiment that are all lifting 500 pounds too. You're probably not going to be a good bodybuilder. So see, when I say bodybuilder, you don't get so offensive, but if I say you as a musician, all of a sudden it would be immediate offense. And then you would make up reasons and defensive reasons. Well, my job, well, my budget, well, my situation, well, my household, well, my friend circle, well, where I live. You would literally tell me all of these things. And I would listen to them because I don't mind listening. But I want you to get the results that you want, which is why I have to shift your brain to think of it like the bodybuilder. Because at the end of the day, I already have the results I want. I want you to get the results you want. So I have to shift your brain to see it from a different angle. So that way you can remove the part that isn't holding yourself accountable. I think about this. It takes zero money for you to make yourself a schedule and stick to it. Zero. You don't have to pay any money for you to say, from now on, I'm going to work 3 hours a day on my music, and I'm going to create a team of people around me from the Billboard 500 Club, and they're going to keep me accountable. I'm going to study production for 2 weeks. I'm going to study that is free, which means it's mindset. So the only thing stopping some of these things is just how you used to look at things. That's all. We all used to look at things the wrong way. All of us. All of us looked at something one time and we're completely wrong about how we looked at it, right? Can we all agree on that? So it's not like we're impervious to mistakes. We all do it. But once we get a chance to look at it the right way, we can't go back. because that's what creates the internal defect. And that's where people get depressed because they're like, well, I know he's saying this, but I keep doing that. And that back and forth bobblehead creates this internal thing. You need to just go turn and go, this just makes way more sense. And if I just do it like this, like all the other people do this, doctors, lawyers, bodybuilders, anything that's successful, then this side can't really talk to you about all the blah, blah, blah you've been listening to. So we have the accountability group that's starting. Just so everyone know, everyone who signed up to be accountability leader, thank you. More importantly, your group will thank you. Like I know Sabrina signed up, and I think a couple of people, like anyone who said, you know what, I have some extra time to make sure my other group members are accountable for themselves. Awesome, because that's what's going to make us all better. So just know that's coming around. And this is how simple it is. The question starts is, what is a 3-month goal that you'd like to attain for yourself? And then once a month, they're just going to send you an email, and they're going to ask, or they're also going to ask you, how do you best learn? You know, because everyone learns differently. Some people learn best like kinesthetic. Some people are auditory. Some people need to watch, videos or hear podcasts, but everyone learns differently. So it asks like, what are some things, what's the best way you learn? And then I'll see these things. I'll send you some quote unquote prescriptions. Like here's some videos I would watch. Here's some things I would do. And then once a month, your team leader will just ask you like, hey, where are you at on your own accountability? And that way someone could at least is checking up on you. So you know that first off, you're in a group that cares. So whenever someone says, I haven't reached out to other people, I want you to know other people care about you. So whatever reason's holding you back from reaching out to people, that is a thought that maybe the world conditioned you to think, but it's not reality in this group. So until you remove that thought and then go, wait a second, I do get along with so-and-so. And I always like their songs and they're always pretty cool. And Rishi's always gives advice. Like until you get out of that own thing and that own, like, I'm going to make it on me, just realize you have a huge team of here of really, really crazy talented people. And this opportunity is seriously like a once in a life thing. I didn't have this on my way up with the music industry. So the fact that y'all do, run with it, reach out to these people. There's a lot of amazing human beings in here, not just great musicians. There's some amazing human beings. So, as music gets better, not only are you surrounded by, better producers and songwriters and future executives, but around some really great people who generally are going to care about your experience and helping you become the best version of you. So that's part of the accountability leaders is people just to check up on you. How's it going? Or do you need anything else, other help? So that way you realize like, wait a second, when you win, the whole group wins. And I don't think people realize this. This is one of those ecosystems that the more people we get in that are successful, the more you don't have to be screwed over by the rest of the industry. The more you get to have money that you can use with your family and spread amongst your friends. Rihanna's team is people that have been working with Rihanna since she was 16. She's not bringing on new friends. When people get to a certain level of success, they don't bring on new people unless that new person is like one of the best in the world at their job. They're bringing up the team that came with them. And that's how everyone is eating. If you have a bunch of friends who are hit songwriters and you're working with them for 10 or 20 years, are you just bringing on other writers? No, you already got your friends who've been writing hits with. Why would you bring on more writers? You already have the people who can do the job the best they can do it in the world. Why do you need more people? That's how every team works. So anyway, just think of that thing with the bodybuilder part is, are you looking at it like the bodybuilder? Because the gym is the prerequisite, but are you pushing your muscles past the point to grow? The answer is no, I've just kind of been making tracks. Well, that's not going to grow your muscles. In order to grow your muscles, you got to lift heavier than you did before, and then you need rest time. If you're just trying to lift everything and then you're not resting, you're going to go crazy. You're going to break something. A bone's going to break, a muscle's going to tear. But if you're lifting, oh, I never did that before. That was hard. Okay, now I'm going to take a break. Now I'm going to go for a walk. Now I'm going to eat a good meal and relax. Now I'm not going to do anything for a bit. I'm going to go play a sport that I like. Just normal life of humanity. If you start to encompass all of this, you'll realize the quote unquote journey is you just enjoying life and getting a chance to express music through that. If you put a time limit and you put a lot of stress and you don't get rest and you push people away and you don't invest your money or energy and resources in becoming better, and you're just going to the gym and you think one course is going to solve all your problems, it's just not. It's not realistic. It's not realistic. Like, there's people who go to major colleges for years. There's people who teach at colleges that can't do half the things that professionals can do. I guarantee if I went through Berkeley, and not the people who teach the master course, the people who are just regular teachers, and I said, cool, come in a studio with me, I would run circles around them. And they would technically know things, but I'd still run circles around them. So trying to do a course, one course, and being like, oh, I did a course, so I should be farther than I am now. I'm like, wait, that's too much pressure. That's way too much pressure. You might do 10 courses and then you've mastered something. But 1, 2, like, that's still just getting information you just never had before. That's all it is. It's, I didn't have that information before. Yeah, but have you mastered the information? Well, no. Well, then maybe you need to do some more. I'm good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not a master yet. This is why I keep going. I hire black belts so they can push me to become black belts. Because I use the same formula in everything, because that's how it all works. I'm learning Spanish. I hire a Spanish teacher because she can push me to become a better Spanish speaker. But I don't just talk it every day. I hire people. I talk with it outside. Like, you have to do all these things. You have to push yourself past, and then you have to rest. So anyway, I'm just bringing that to the table because I know how it is when you're learning something. You're like, oh, I think I should have learned that by now. And I'm like, well, how long did you learn it? Well, I took a course for 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I know, I hear you in theory, but you know, there's people who take, coding courses for like years until they're master coders. There's people who, if you're in sports like Olympics, you're training for the gymnastics, you're in intensives all the time before you go in the Olympics. So the idea that, like, you can kind of do something a little bit and then kind of practice, and then you want to make $100,000 a year in an industry where there's only, like, I think they posted on Spotify that only 13,000 people make over 50K on Spotify a year. Spotify has over 9.8 million songs a year, but there's only 13,000 people who make over 50K. So you're talking about an industry that's extremely competitive, and there's no real boundary border to just anyone to submit things and to put it out. If you want to compete in that, you got to be one of the best, period. At whatever that thing is, right? So if someone's like, wow, I'm a dope rapper, cool, be a dope rapper. Someone's like, I'm a dope songwriter, great, be a dope songwriter. Whatever that thing is to you. If someone's like, I'm going to be 100%er, great. But whatever that is, if you feel like there's a disconnect between you and your peers, for whatever reason, that's when you know you just need more information. That's all it is repetition of information. And I guarantee someone like John Mark is a perfect example of when he first started, he was learning things and he kept getting information, he kept applying it. And then when he works with other people outside the group, I guarantee they're like, yo, that guy's dope. Yeah, he's smiling because there's repetition of information that now he's able to hear someone else's song and be like, oh, I changed this, I changed that, I changed that melody here, I changed it. And he knows why he's saying it because he said information repeated to him. Same thing with Rishi. If Rishi started doing demo critiques the first day he was in the group, he wouldn't sound like Rishi does now. He sounds like Rishi because he surrounded himself with bodybuilders. He's around A-Rod, who's a hit songwriter for Rihanna, Beyonce. He's around Autumn, who's a hit songwriter for John Baptiste and Dua Lipa. He's around me. He's around bodybuilders. So when he talks, people listen. He doesn't even have a hit song on the radio yet, but everyone still listens. Why? Because the information he has is stored in a place that's built out of honest place with no ego, and he knows it and he's stored it. And if you can't hear a song and repeat the things that we're saying, it's probably because you haven't gotten the information yet. That's all it is. It's just a bottle of information, but you got to drink that all the time. So I'm glad I came in where it did when we were talking about time schedules, because there's a reality that you have to understand. This industry and the way your life will go does not care about what you're doing with your time that equates to how you feel. It only cares about what you're doing with your time when it equates to the result. And this is where sometimes people get kind of stuck, because they'll say, well, I have to do this to, I have to go to this thing to do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I get it. But how your time works is that whatever you're focusing on, you're just going to get really good at that. So if you're spending 10 hours at this place a day and 2 hours in the studio, you're going to get really good at the thing you spend 10 hours a day doing. And you're going to be kind of good at the 2-hour thing. Until you start to reverse this theory, does it make sense? And I can't tell you to do that. I can only make you aware of the reality of that situation. So if you got to put 10 hours over here, you better be doing courses over here for those 2 hours. So that way you're ingesting the highest potency of information. And it should be like all day long, anytime you get a chance. So that way over a 6 month time period, you're like, whoa, I really did bulk up. Like the bodybuilder. I spent 2 hours a day, but I was pumping hard. Versus, yeah, I go on the treadmill for at least an hour after work. I guarantee if you look at that person for the bodybuilder is going to be 10 times the size of the person who goes cardio, makes them feel good. Guarantee it. So anyway, all right, we're coming up on our end of the mark. So did anyone have a last question or something that you felt kind of stuck in your group or anything to wrap up today? Andre?
Yeah, I wanted to share something quickly that John actually said I should share with the rest of y'all. It was Alice came up. She said that one of the issues she was having was that because of COVID, that and some issues with her band, that she doesn't have a band to collaborate with. And she can sing, but she needs help with songwriting and somebody to help produce. Now she does rock music, and so one of the things she was discussing is like, okay, I got to go find a band, and discussing all the challenges with that. And I was like, well, why do you want to do that? Why would you want to get 4 or 5 other people involved, and then you got 4 or 5 other, whether it be their own relationships, whatever they're at, if they're not in the 500, all right, cool. Well, do they have some level that they can match you? So one of the ideas I shared with her that I know of another artist doing is that I'm like, cool. So it's the Alice Band, right? So when things open up and start having live shows again, you can then hire musicians and rehearse with them and then have them do those shows. So in the meantime, you get with producers and top liners, and you can create whatever the Alice Band sound is. And then there's producers who can make it sound, who are only using digital instruments, but make it sound real, or you can hire session musicians as you need, but then you can control it. And then once you need the band members on stage, somebody to actually physically play the guitar and drums and all that, then you can hire it for them. An example is somebody from here in Miami. Whenever he goes, he has some shows in Boston. He has a group of people that he hires out of Boston, a pool of them. And so when he goes and he has a show up there, he doesn't fly the musicians from down here. He hires them up there, does some rehearsals before the gigs, and then does all that. In the meantime, he only has to worry about him and his girlfriend's flight and stay and what they need and so on. So it was a little tip of, you don't need to start getting other people involved. Rather, you can be the mastermind of that. I think of I believe it's Fits in the Tantrum. I think it's just 1 or 2 guys, and they ended up pulling, but when you hear it, it sounds like a full band. And so whenever they're ready to do a full show, great, hire those people, because if you hire them, you can fire them. And if they're your friends, that starts getting not so clear cut of what that boundary is. So I just wanted to share that. And if anything you want to add to that, Adam. Working
definitely.
With
well, let me ask Alice a question. Alice, do you feel, what part of you live in Brazil, or where do you live now?
Right now I am in Brazil, but I was living in Canada.
That's right. Okay, so do you plan on living in Brazil for a while?
No.
Oh, okay. So where might you live next?
I'm thinking of going back to Canada, but because of the pandemic, I'm not making plans.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's say there was an area of Canada where a lot of the live musicians play. Can you imagine yourself, or do you feel like you're someone who could walk up to a band? Let's say you saw this band playing and they were like, the drummer was just amazing. And you were like, oh, that's a good drummer. Do you feel like you could walk up to that drummer after they just played a show? Like the band they played in was awesome. You were like, whoa, I'm a fan of this. Do you feel like you can walk up to that drummer and say, hey, can I pull you aside real quick? I'm a singer and I think you're really, really great. And I'd like for you to hear me sing, because I feel like if we put something together with your amazing ability and my amazing ability, we can make something really cool together.
Do you feel like if I feel that that I'm able to do, like I can invite him and then he's gonna accept?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, actually I tried to do, but if people accepted, but it didn't work very well. They, at least with Canadians, they, I don't know, my mindset, I would say it's maybe 500 level. Their mindset was not that, so that's why it didn't work. Like their mindset, I tried to like have this type of conversation. I had band members, but it was not working. I felt like it was their mindset. They didn't want to have a music career. And even I know I still have many things to learn. I need to get better, and I'm not perfect yet. But I just feel like it's more the mindset stuff, that if you want to do, you're gonna do it. Even if you are a beginner, you'll find a way to do it.
Okay, but real quick though, my question is, and I appreciate your answer. My question is, could you go up to that best band and tell their best players that they should be behind you and that they will listen? Like all the best bands,
No,
best drummer, best bass player, best keyboard player, like the people who are in the best bands, you think you can pull them from their bands because of your voice?
Okay, sorry. No.
Okay, then don't worry about even talking about a band right now. Like there should be no talks of bands right now. There should be no talks of social media. There should be no talks of how do I get this to get that. It should be, I need to be so good that I can walk up to people and say, you should come play with me, and they will listen and follow you. If you're not doing that, then you're trying to ask people to spend their time to learn with you and to support you. For what reason? Anything that you tell me or say out loud is rooted in a selfish thing. It might not feel selfish.
Yes, you are right. I was not thinking this way.
Okay, perfect. So here's what happens. Because we watch movies and we create ourselves as wanting to be the lead character and saying, I'm going to be a singer. Then we go, all I need to get together is a band, and it's the band's mindset and da-da-da. And I hear you. But I'm like, at the same time, if you were doing your job at the high level, that band's mindset might change because they would see that you were a leader of something that's actually going to go forward and not just we're having fun playing music. Oh, well, she takes it seriously, but she's not even there yet. So how's she going to tell me to show up on time? Like, what's this? That's where the stuff goes wrong. If you have mastered your craft, because if as a singer, your only job is to sing and write songs. That's your only job. If you're not a master of it, you can't tell me nothing. That's like going into a kitchen and someone's trying to yell at me like they're a chef. And I'm like, you just learned how to make a hamburger yesterday. I'm not going to yell at me. Oh, who put you in charge? Get out of here. But if you're Chef Ramsay and you're like, I've mastered my craft. Well, now I'm listening because I'm learning. Or now I'm listening because I'm a part of something that will be bigger than myself. The only way people get together is when they feel like they're learning or feel like they're a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And pretty much anything. I guarantee one of the reasons why you're part of this group is because you're either learning or you're part of something that's bigger than yourself. In everything. That's how it works. So if you want people to be a part of something with you, it's up to you to not try to force things before they're ready. Because you're always going to get then a negative reflection, and then you'll most likely blame other people. Instead of saying, maybe I was, and also I'll be honest, as a woman, when you go into those situations, people are going to think that you're manipulating them and they're going to try manipulating you. It's just all going to happen subconsciously. So they're like, oh, well, this pretty girl came up to us and wants to be in our band. Well, I'm in her band and all, but I think she's really cute. It's going to be all this nonsense.
Yeah.
You say, yeah, yeah. You're like, yeah, see, we want to remove that. All right. So that way, when you work with someone and they go, oh no, this woman is incredible, I just joined her band. That's a different thing. Because that means there's boundaries here, because no one's wasting their time for you and your dream. This is, I believe in her, so I'm a part of this. It's bigger than myself. I will create boundaries. So I highly recommend, don't even mention bands right now. If you happen to run into the right people, you know, you're around some friends, they go, oh, my friend plays guitar, and then you gel, that's one thing. But even the talk or discussion of like social media and bands and putting things together is literally a waste of your actual creative energy. You can be spending that time doing all kinds of other stuff. Going to the gym, going yoga, making food, getting better at your music, like doing all this other stuff, then social media and trying to put together a band. But give yourself a reasonable plan to get to where you want. So if you're like, I need to work on my voice, cool, get a vocal coach, work X amount of days per week on your voice, sing songs, and just like any professional company, you don't need people to see you practicing before you release a product, because no one does that. But artists love to show people things beforehand. Don't do it. Just wait till it's ready. Like, Nike's going to show you the shoe once it's on the shelf, not while they were making it, unless this shoe defies gravity. If the shoe defies gravity, they're putting out commercials about it. It's going to be a viral video. But if the shoe isn't even good enough yet, they're not showing it to you. They don't want to lose fans. They don't want to lose customers. And that's what a lot of people want, unfortunately, is they just want the attention part. So remove the attention part, become a master at what you want to do. It'll build confidence in you. It'll build confidence in the people who are working around you. And it will build your organization to be truly based on something that's one frequency together, because you all have a goal that will be bigger than yourselves. That's a different thing. And that's why you find bands like Nirvana that happen to have, you know, Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl. Yeah, two masters together. When you see Genesis with Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. Yeah, Beatles. Two masters. It's because one master looked at another master and was like, you're amazing. You're amazing. Let's do this thing. That's how it works. It's like me and Mario. It's like, you're great. You're great. Let's work. You got to find other people who see the greatness in you. But if someone can't see the greatness in you because you haven't gotten there yet, you're just looking subconsciously to manipulate situations for your dream as something different. Cool.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right. That being said, y'all, today we're ending up the Monday Motivation. Hopefully you got a lot out of this. I love the fact that we got our breakout rooms. We're able to talk to one another and really vibe with one another. Overall, I just think that's a greater glue that we got building. Check out what we have going on this week. Obviously, I'll be doing a live Q&A on tomorrow night. So every Tuesday this month, I'll be doing a live demo critique that we're posting on YouTube. We're trying to build up our YouTube channel so that way we can just get out some more information and hopefully get some more really top talented people here. Our goal is to get 500 members. So remember, you're part of this group. If you have good friends, you have people that you want to bring in, we're going to start to do this, because the whole goal is to create a bigger Unity releases. If you haven't received your information for your Unity release, who has received your Unity release information? John Mark? Is that it? Andre, Yudi, and Alice Denise. Okay. So that's cool, because a lot of you haven't yet experienced something that's going to be really impactful, hopefully, when you do get a chance to hear the Unity release information. But that's the whole goal, is when we hit our 500, we're basically going dark. in the sense of like, it's just all internal, meaning all the executives, all the people, there's no more promoting online. It's just this. And it's just about people becoming the best, undeniable. And so when you release songs, they do something. And I'm going to tell you a little secret right now. We have an artist in the group. I haven't told her this yet, but I had her work on a project. She had her roller coaster with it because it's the first time she had this much pressure on herself. We put her in the fire. She delivered it to me 3 days ago. I sent it off to an executive at a major company. And the first thing they wrote back was like, wow, this girl's got a great voice. I don't see any other songs coming out, but I'm going to pay attention to her releases from now on. And you all know this artist. She's been in the group for about a year and a half. I'm not going to mention names yet because I'm going to post it. I'm going to have her talk about all this other stuff. But this is what happens. Like you become undeniable and really good at what you do. You have a circle of friends that helps you. We have executives in the group that will pass it to the right people, and opportunities fall in your lap. And that's just what happens. So it's imperative that we get good people in the group. So just saying this to you, I want to inspire you all to remember that you're a part of this growing energy. We might have started the club, but you are the heart of it. Like you are that attention, you are the energy, you are the growingness of this. So if you have people, talk about it, bring them in, like let them know about it, bring them to demo critiques, bring them to the Q&A. Because when we get to our full potential, I truly believe we're going to change the world, and not in a cheesy way. I just think we're going to have so many great songs, and we have so many people who will be in the positive public eye that when you're in an interview, you're going to say some real shit. Like not saying cheesy, like I can see Jamil in an interview from 3 or 4 years and they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And he's going to say some real shit. And people will be like, yo, I never even heard about that. I never even thought of looking at life like that. And then 10,000 young kids are going to be like, wow, what he said about where we're focusing our time, that's true. And then Maya's going to say something too in an interview at one point. And someone's going to go, yeah, and Yolanda's going to be, oh yeah, I used to think like this, but not. And y'all will be the ones that will change the way people perceive the world. Because you are the creators of the next generations. That's how music does it. Just like you were inspired, I guarantee right now, how you act, how you look, and how you write was inspired by someone else. I guarantee it. I guarantee I can hear your music and tell you who you listen to. I see y'all smiling, shaking your head yes, because you're like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did kind of listen to those 3 people a lot growing up. And I do kind of sing like this now. And people do say I remind them of so-and-so, but I did kind of mimic so-and-so for a little bit. You all know it. That's how influential you are. That's how influential you're going to be. Someone else in 15 years will be like, I watched you. I guarantee there's things that I have said that now resonate in your life because I'm influencing you. And I guarantee if you said this to a friend of yours, you influence that friend. That's how it works. So I'm just proud of everyone, right? It's really cool to see all the growth and the people who are showing up, keep showing up. It's going to keep on getting better. So anyway, I got to run, but have a great week and I'll see you around. And if you want to be there for tomorrow, Tuesday, live Q&A, Denise will send out the information and hopefully bring any of your questions. And that's all we're going to do is knock all these questions down. All right, y'all. I will see you soon. Later.
Why are all the talented upcoming producers, songwriters, and artists, even executives, talking about the Billboard 500 Club?
The Billboard 500 Club is just what I needed. As a graduate of Berklee College of Music, for the last 3 years, I've learned more and grown more as a musician and a producer and an artist in 3 months than I had in the last 3 years.
Getting feedback from the people in the industry. So they're saying, here's why I wouldn't pick this song for the radio. Here's why I wouldn't pick this song for a movie or a TV show placement. So you can hear what you need to do to get better.
It's helped me focus and change my mindset of what it is to be an artist.
The Billboard 500 Club is amazing, and it's been, for me, a total game changer. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle and some of the pieces they've been lost, and then someone comes along and gives you the jigsaw pieces, slot it in, you see the big picture, and you can run with it then.
If any of you can take any sort of course that he offers, I would do it in a heartbeat. It will be some of the best invested money.
Just 9 months after joining the club, I got my first contracts with a sync licensing company in Los Angeles, and that company is now pitching my songs for TV income.